Rome conquered Greece. That's how the story is usually told. Legions marched east, cities fell, statues were looted, end of story. But here's the truth that history books often miss. Rome didn't just defeat Greece militarily. Rome absorbed Greece, rewrote it, and then claimed it as its own past. By the time the dust settled, Greece still existed, but it spoke with a Roman voice, wore Roman power, and served Roman ambition. This isn't a story of destruction. It's a story of replacement. For centuries, Greece was the center of the Mediterranean world. Greek thinkers defined logic. Greek artists defined beauty. Greek philosophers asked questions that humanity still can't fully answer. Meanwhile, Rome was something else entirely. Practical, ruthless, organized, less interested in why the world worked, and far more focused on who controlled it. At first, Rome admired Greece from a distance. Then it began to intervene. Then, eventually, it took over. But the conquest of Greece wouldn't look like Persia's invasion or Alexander's lightning campaigns. Rome would do something far more subtle. By the 3rd century BCE, Greece was no longer unified. The great city-states of Athens and Sparta had burned themselves out in endless wars. Power had fractured into leagues, rival kingdoms, and fragile alliances. Macedonia dominated politically. Greek cities dominated culturally. And that division mattered because Rome understood something critical. A divided Greece didn't need to be destroyed. It needed to be managed. Rome arrived not as a conqueror, but as an ally. Rome's first major involvement came through conflict with Macedon. On paper, Rome claimed it was liberating Greek cities from Macedonian control. In practice, it replaced one overseer with another. When Rome defeated Macedon, it declared Greece free. No Roman governors, no immediate annexation, just influence. But freedom under Rome came with conditions, and those conditions quietly reshaped Greek politics. Rome favored factions that cooperated, punished those that resisted, and ensured that Greek leaders began thinking not in terms of independence, but in terms of Roman approval. This wasn't conquest, it was conditioning. Greek cities eventually realized what was happening. Rome wasn't leaving. Resistance followed, and Rome responded the only way it ever truly did when challenged, with overwhelming force. Cities were sacked, populations enslaved, treasuries emptied. This was the moment Greece lost politically. But something strange happened next. Rome didn't erase Greek culture. It embraced it. Roman elites became obsessed with Greece. Greek tutors educated Roman children. Greek philosophers advised Roman politicians. Greek architects reshaped Roman cities. Even Roman gods were rebranded Greek gods with Latin names. Rome conquered Greece, then declared Greek culture superior. But here's the twist. Rome controlled how that culture survived. Greek philosophy now served Roman law. Greek art now decorated Roman power. Greek education now trained Roman rulers. Greece became the intellectual engine of an empire it no longer commanded. Greek thinkers still debated truth. Greek artists still sculpted perfection. Greek language still dominated education. But political power, that was gone. Decisions were made in Rome, wars were planned in Rome, fates were decided in Rome. Greece had become something unprecedented, a conquered civilization that intellectually conquered its conqueror, yet remained politically powerless. Rome didn't destroy Greek identity, it reframed it. Rome understood a brutal truth about empire. Destroying a culture creates resistance. Absorbing it creates legitimacy. By claiming Greek civilization as part of Roman identity, Rome gained prestige, historical depth, cultural authority. Rome didn't look like a barbarian empire. It looked like the rightful heir of civilization itself, and Greece became the past Rome claimed as its own. No burning libraries, no forced language bans, no cultural extinction, just a slow transfer of ownership. Greek ideas survived, but Greek sovereignty did not. Rome didn't just conquer Greece. It replaced it as the center of the Mediterranean world. So, who won this story? Rome gained power, but borrowed legitimacy. Greece preserved culture, but lost control. The world we live in today carries both legacies: Roman law, Greek philosophy, an empire built not just on swords, but on stories it claimed as inheritance. History doesn't always end with ruins. Sometimes it ends with assimilation. Empires fall when they destroy civilizations, but they endure when they convince the world they are civilization. If you enjoy cinematic history that goes beyond battles and dates, that explores power, identity, and the stories empires tell about themselves, subscribe to The Past Licks. Because history isn't just about who won, it's about who got remembered and why.